The next contest, the one we've all been waiting for, the one that made me want to see, if anything, made me want to see this show. It was this match. Eddie Kingston and CM Punk. Like Mussolini and Grenadine. Yeah, you take me where I... Again. What?
Were you improvising there? You never go past that line.
Yeah,
what was that?
You take me where I want to be, or whatever the fuck it is.
Is that what they say?
I don't know.
You take me where I want to
be. I'm a cult of personality. Look at me. What do you see? Like Mussolini.
All right, please.
And Ethel Mertz. All right. Again, serious entrance. Now he's wearing the fight shorts. Did you notice that? These are subtle, subliminal things. He didn't do the clobber in time because he got his game face on because he's pissed. This isn't even a professional match that he's had like he had with some of the other guys. This is a personal situation. He's coming to fight. And they're facing off, and the people are ready for it, and the referees try to get him settled, and all of a sudden Kingston comes out with a back fist and just knocks him goofy and dropped him before the bell, and it brought the house down. That, I hate jump starts because they all happen so often these days, but in this case, it wasn't a jump start. Because he KO'd him, and Kingston's taking the fucking glory from the people, and Punk's on his face. And they're like, shit, are we going to be able to have this match? And then Punk gets his shit back together and say, yeah, go ring the bell or whatever, and Kingston's all over him. And they had these people from the start. They had the dueling chants. Let's go, Eddie, CM Punk, whatever. Punk started firing back. We had a fight on our hands. And honestly, and I was happy to see this, and I think it works better for these personalities. The people were on Eddie's side. They didn't hate Punk, but they were more overwhelmingly positive for Eddie Kingston. And when Punk got up on the mount and started fucking pickling him, they actually booed a bit. And then Kingston eye pokes him and gets cheers. But both these guys, if they're going to blur the lines between babyface and heels, this is the way you do it. Because both these guys are nominally babyfaces, but you've got Kingston, who has been a heel in the past, and who the only reason he's a babyface is because they cheer for him. He doesn't change his style that much. He's a fighter. He's a tough guy. You got Punk, who they know can be an abrasive prick, but he's also the biggest star in the company and set their record. So they like both these guys, but both these guys fell into a personal issue. And now they're having a fight, and neither one of them is doing anything that CM Punk or Eddie Kingston, as the people that they're presented to be, wouldn't do. And then fucking... at one point, Punk would take over and get a Punk chant. Eddie'd take over and get an Eddie chant. Then Kingston posts Punk, and Punk gets a little color, just enough to give him those eyes and that face. And they have a big fight on the floor, but it fits here. It wasn't just like the Moxley match. What's number 3? Oh, we go to the floor. Can't be number 4 or number 2. Has to be number 3 because we do the same thing every time. It fit here that they would go out and fight on the floor and, milk the crowd and flip each other off and blah, blah, blah. Punk did the Three Amigos and got a big pop. Second match of the night that'd been tried because it's Minneapolis and Eddie and the anniversary, etc. They fought on the top rope, which normally I don't like, but it wasn't like we're going to stand here motionless and try to help each other keep our balance while we set up some big move. It was they're fighting. And then Kingston gets a superplex. They have a hockey fight in the middle that JR did not utter the word slobber knocker, told me that he was distracted and not feeling good with his health issues. And then at one point, Punk hit the GTS but couldn't capitalize. They were selling like they were almost exhausted, and this fight wore both of them down. And I saw some remark before I watched the match. I saw something on Twitter that somebody said, but we didn't like it. Was so short. It was too short. What the fuck? This was perfect. They started at a high rate of speed because they were mad and they were fighting. And over the period of time, attrition and fatigue set in. And now they're almost exhausted. And you can have a wrestling match as a shoot for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, but you don't have a 30-minute fucking fight. Anyway, Punk gave Kingston, the elbows, and as he had him in the middle of the ring and he's giving him the elbows, he hears the people booing because he had started to hook him up for something else, and then he heard those boos. And he said, you know what, fuck it. And he gave him some knee lifts then. Like, here, give me some more booze. He knows what he's doing. And then he hit the fucking GTS and boom, 1, 2, 3. Fantastic piece of business. And Jim Ross, that was his best line of the night. All he had to say was, what a goddamn fist fight. That worked. If MJF and Darby was the best match of the show, which it was, this was the best fight. You can't say this was secondary to MJF or MJF and Darby were secondary to this because it was two completely different things. Theirs was the best match. This was the best fight. Your thoughts?
I liked it. Good move, not going long with everyone else going long. Remember in the old programs after Backlund became champion, they started proclaiming Bruno as the people's champion?
Yes.
Eddie Kingston is the people's champion right now in AEW.
There you go.
And similar to Austin against Brett, again, I hate to use the Austin comparisons again, but Eddie could lose and it takes nothing away from him. They'll cheer him just as loud leaving as they did coming in. He has the most unique and special relationship with the fan base right now of any wrestler in the business.
And again, it's real. They didn't make anything up to make the fans like him. They told the true story of what he's been through. So that, again, that not only gets you over better, but it also lasts longer, and it creates a more special connection with the fans. They'll think not only did they have something to do with this, which they did, their reactions to him they had that to do with his success, but also they know that they're not being fed some kind of fucking who shot John bullshit. It's real. Everything he said in that article on the what was it? Players Tribune. Everything he said was true. They know who he is. He's in a business where you work. It's a worked business, but he's a real guy. And that goes a long way. So that's a lot of Punk's appeal because he comes off as real and legitimate, saying what he would say, even when he's in a working situation. It was the same way with anybody who's ever drawn money practically over a long period of time. You've got your, the gimmicks that draw for, a fad or short period or whatever. But anybody who's ever been over for a long period of time and or drawn big money from Bruno on down is people they believe. And it's not horse shit. And they're starting to actually get some of this in AEW now. Who could you really believe in AEW except the ones that were just sniveling little fucking childish simpletons? You could believe a bunch of that, but who could you believe before we got Punk, Danielson, fucking Kingston now, some of these other guys?
See, that's what killed Cody. Cody was the guy that people wanted to believe in, and then the people they could actually believe in showed up.
They saw through him like a goddamn unfrosted window.
At this point in Full Gear, what did you think of the show? Did you think it was a positive? Did you enjoy it? We're not done yet.
At this point, because I didn't watch the Hardley Boys match, it was one of the better pay-per-views I've seen in a while. With the screwiness of Cody's whole situation didn't take down the fact that Miro and Daniel, as a matter of fact, again, MJF and Darby, best match. Punk and Kingston, best fight. Second best match of the night, Miro and Danielson. We got a pretty good string going. We're not going to keep it at that quality, but let's move on.